Hi, welcome to this class. This is Antonio Galimberti from AJ Languages. Thank you very much for being here. Today we're doing class number 55. That's awesome. So today we're going to talk about transportation and cities. Thank you very much for being connected here today. I really appreciate it. So everything that we're going to cover today is related to transportation and cities. We will review can, can't, have to, don't have to talk about things that are necessary and not necessary to do. And we will describe these pictures to talk about what you can do, what you have to do in my city if you use public transportation. This is a card that replicates what happens when you take an international exam. So we want to learn how to develop our test taking strategies. And here we have a nice paragraph with 199 words to use the grammar about things that you have to do or don't have to do if you visit a place in my city. Important adjectives, vocabulary to talk about cities, and then pronunciation. Very important. Are you interested in English classes online? Visit our website, send us a message, an email, or contact us on WhatsApp. We will be happy, delighted to help you out with your English. And at the end of the class, we are going to have a Q&A session. So if you have any questions about the content of the class, send us a message, please, or send me a message right there. So, are you ready for the first part of the class? Yes, I am. Hi, welcome to this speaking class. What are we going to talk about today? Today, transportation and cities is the topic. And we are going to review the use of can to talk about what is necessary to do, or can't, what you shouldn't do in a city, right? When it comes to transportation. So both can and can't are used to talk about what is okay to do, what is not okay to do, what is permitted to do, what is not permitted to do. And the context of this video has to do with transportation and cities. So this is the structure. In the subject, light blue, you or people. You can use any subject. You can use you, he, she, they, no problem. Then orange, the modal verb. In affirmative, can. In negative, can't. You are never going to change the modal verb. It doesn't matter which the subject is. It can be you, he, she, no problem. It is always going to be can or can't in the orange part. And then yellow, you have a verb in its base form. Number one, you can leave your bicycle here. It's okay if you leave your bicycle here. You can do it. Number two, people can't ride a bicycle without a helmet. People cannot ride a bike without a helmet. It's not permitted. It's not allowed. It's not okay. You have to wear a helmet. Okay? So if you want to talk about what is necessary, you can. And what is not necessary, you can't. What is not allowed, what is not permitted, you can't. You can't. Nice. And a verb. Now, if you want to ask a yes no question, you start with a modal verb, can. Remember, it is always going to be can. It doesn't matter what the subject is. It can be you, he, she, it. Now, in light blue, the subject, you, people. In yellow, the verb in base form. Leave or ride. Question number one. Can you leave your bicycle here? Number two. Can people ride a bicycle without a helmet? So those are two very nice questions, right? Can you leave your bicycle here? Is it okay if I do it? Is it permitted? Is it allowed? Number two. Can people ride a bicycle without a helmet? Is it okay to do it? Is it allowed to do it? Is it permitted to do it? So orange, modal verb. Light blue, subject. Yellow, verb in base form. Now, when can you use have to? To say that something is mandatory. It's necessary to do. Don't have to. It's not necessary to do. So have to, it's necessary, it's obligatory. Don't have to, it's not necessary, it's not obligatory. You don't have to do it. Examples. You have to buy a bus card to use public transportation in the city. First, the subject, for example, you or people. Then in orange, you have the modal-like expression. In this case, in affirmative, have to. In negative, don't have to. You need an auxiliary right before have to, don't. And your auxiliary is don't because your subject is you or people, right? And in yellow, you have a verb in base form. So light blue, orange, yellow. Subject, modal-like expression, and then the verb. Negative. Number two, you don't have to buy a bus card to use public transportation in the city. It is not necessary. In number one, you have to buy a bus card to use public transportation in the city. This means that it's necessary, it's mandatory. Good. Now, in a question, if you are making questions with have to, you need to use an auxiliary. What is the auxiliary here? Do. That is the auxiliary that you want to use, or that you have to use, you need to use. So auxiliary, do, in orange. Then the subject, it can be I, you, people, they, in light blue. Then the modal-like expression, have to, in orange. And then in yellow, a verb in base form, buy. Do you have to buy a bus card to use public transportation here? So you ask questions like this if you want to make sure that something is necessary to do, right? Nice. Now, keep this in mind. If the subject is she or he, then you cannot use have to. You have to use has to. You have to conjugate the modal-like expression accordingly, right? So she has to, he has to. She has to work on weekends, he has to work on weekends. Number one. Number two, she doesn't have to work on weekends. It's not necessary. It's not mandatory. She doesn't have to do it. You see? So you're using have to in the negative form, but what you are using in particular is the auxiliary does. So she doesn't have to work on weekends. When you talk about he or she, that is your auxiliary. If you're talking about you, people, as you can see here in number two, your auxiliary is don't. But if you're talking about a woman or a man, your auxiliary is doesn't. Nice. And the verb is always going to come in regular form, in base form. Look, in have to. Always have to in negative. Why? Because you have the auxiliary. The same happens when you make a question. Since you are starting with an auxiliary, does, and then a subject, he or she, then the modal-like expression is have to, because you already have the auxiliary. So you don't have to conjugate have to into has to. And yellow is in base form, right? So does he have to work on weekends? Does she have to work on weekends? Is it necessary? Does she have to do it? Is it mandatory? Yes or no? Nice. So you can use have to and has to express necessity. All right. So the context of this class has to do with transportation and cities. Now we are going to use all the grammar that we have been talking about to practice our test-taking strategies. So the topic, or this test-taking strategy, is related with taking the PEIC exam, the Pearson English International Certificate. So when you take this exam, they give you tasks like this. This is the situation. Imagine you have a friend who's going to visit your city. He's going to ask you questions about the things he has to keep in mind during his visit. Your partner is your friend. He will ask you questions and make comments. So this is the task, right? Now, after showing you the task, they will give you a card like this with instructions or prompts. And you have to turn this into a conversation, putting in practice the grammar that we have seen today. So, what is the grammar? Can, can't, have to, don't have to express degrees of, or to express necessity. All right? So let's go over the card. Greet your friend. Tell him you're happy he will visit your city. Ask him how you can help him. Tell him whether or not he can use public transportation without a bus card. Tell him if he has to sign up to a website to get a bus card. Tell him if he has to get more than one different bus card. And tell him if he has to get tickets for the city tour bus in advance. And tell him he can contact you if he needs more help. Okay, so what can you do if you need to turn this into a conversation? Well, using can, have to, this is an example. So let's go over the example and pay attention to the use of can and have to. Can and have to express necessity. Light blue, 1. Hi, John, I'm going to visit your city next month. Yellow, 1. Hi, Peter, I'm happy to hear that. Do you need any help? Light blue, 2. Yes, please. I have some questions about transportation in your city. Can I use public transportation without a bus card? Yellow, 2. Well, no, you can't. You have to buy a bus card. Light blue, 3. I see. Do I have to sign up to a website to get a card? Yellow, 3. Fortunately, you don't have to. You can get cards everywhere. For example, at supermarkets. Light blue, 4. Nice. Can I use the same card for all buses? Yellow, 4. Yes. You don't have to buy more than one. Light blue, 5. That sounds convenient. What about the city tour bus? Yellow, 5. Good question. You cannot use the same card for that. That's the only exception. You have to buy a ticket on their website. Light blue, 6. Thanks, John. I appreciate it. Yellow, 6. My pleasure. If you need further help, just let me know. Okay, this is a conversation about transportation in my city, so to speak. And we see can and have to express necessity. Examples, light blue, 2. Can I use public transportation without a bus card? Do I need a car? Is it okay? Light blue, 3. Do I have to sign up? Is it necessary to sign up? Number 4. Can I use the same card for all buses? Is it okay? Is it permitted? Is it allowed? Yellow, number 2. No, you can't. It's prohibited. You can't do it. You have to buy a bus card. It's necessary to buy a bus card. Yellow, 3. You don't have to. It's not necessary. You don't have to. Look at orange. You can get cards everywhere. This is not about necessity. This is about possibility. You can get. So remember, it's not a good question to ask yourself, when can I use can? No. It's better to say with which purposes, under which circumstances can I use can. You can use can to talk about necessity, but according to white, but also according to orange, to express possibility. Those are 2 examples. We're not talking about ability here, which is something else, something different. Yellow, number 4. You don't have to buy more than one. It's not necessary to buy more than one. Yellow, 5. You cannot use the same card for that. It's not allowed. It's not okay. It's not permitted. You have to buy a ticket. You have to do it. It's obligatory. All right? So if you want to express necessity, you can use can or have to. Now, let's see how we use the same grammar when it comes to talking about an A2 key exam from Cambridge. When you take these exams, they give you a set of pictures, and in this set of pictures, there are ideas that can allow you to write a story based on the pictures. So at AG Languages, what we do is basically the same thing, but we do not do it in a writing task, but in a speaking task. What do you see here? Well, number 1, maybe a bus card. Number 2, a bus. Number 3, bicycles, probably public bicycles, city bicycles. And number 4, a tour bus, right? So how can you use can, have to, don't have to express necessity when talking about transportation in your city using this set of pictures. So let's go. Um, let's do the first one. In my city, you have to get a bus card to use public transportation. You have to get. It's necessary. Subject, you. Modal like expression, have to. A verb, get. Number two, however, you don't have to buy more than one card. You don't have to do it. It's not necessary. Subject, you. A modal like expression, don't have to. In negative, that's why you have don't. And you have don't because the subject is you. After that, the verb buy in base form. Number three, you can use the same card for all buses. It's okay if you do it. Subject, you, modal can, modal verb, and a verb in base form use. Remember, you always use can. It doesn't matter what your subject is. Second picture, you can take a bus wherever you want. It's not permitted. It's not allowed. It's not okay. Subject, you, modal verb, can't in negative form, verb in base form, take. Number two, you have to go to any of the bus stations or bus stops located in different parts of the city. You have to go. It's necessary. Subject, you. Modal like expression, have to. Verb in base form, go. Number three, you can't get on the buses with pets. It's not allowed. It's not permitted. It's not okay. Subject, you. Modal verb, can't, negative form. Verb in base form, get. Next picture. If you want to move around the district where I live, you can use the public bikes that are close to bus stops and parks. You can use. It's okay if you do it. It's allowed to do it. Subject, you. Modal verb, can. Verb in base form, use. Number two, you have to download an app first. It's necessary to do it. It's necessary to download an app first. Subject, you. Modal like expression, have to. Verb in base form, download. Number three, you don't have to wear a helmet. It's not necessary to wear a helmet. Okay, so orange. Subject, you. Modal like expression in negative, don't have to. Verb in base form, wear. Picture number four. If you're interested in going sightseeing in my district, you can take the city tour bus. You can do it. It's okay if you do it. This can also express not only necessity, but I would say possibility. You can do it. You can take the city tour bus. It's an option. It's an option. All right. So subject, you, modal verb, can, a verb in base form, take. Number two, you don't have to buy tickets in advance. You don't have to do it. It's not necessary. Subject, you, modal like expression in negative, don't have to. Verb in base form, buy. Number three, you have to show your vaccination card before you get on the bus. So it's necessary, it's obligatory, it's mandatory. Subject, you, modal like expression, have to. Verb in base form, show. If you want to watch the whole class or the collection of classes that we have, visit agelanguages.com. Please, interested in English classes online, contact us. We will be delighted to help you out. There is a link in the description of this video so you can contact us. And please leave your comments, your questions, visit our blog, follow Hector Cabreras on Instagram, and follow us on YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, and Instagram. Are you ready for the writing class? This is class number 55. Awesome. I am ready. So what is this class about? You will see. Hi, welcome to this writing class. This is class number 55. And today we are talking about an interesting place to visit. Visiting the Empire State Building. We have 199 words. This is class number 55. And the topic is transportation and cities. Transportation and cities. We will focus on cities because we will talk about a place we can visit in our city. We will express necessity using can, can't, have to, and don't have to. So while I'm reading the paragraph, try to identify examples of this grammar to express necessity. This is the paragraph. Visiting the Empire State Building, class 55, 199 words. Ready? Go. If you visit the Empire State Building in New York, there are 3 things you should keep in mind. First of all, you have to buy a ticket online to get to the top floor of the building. If you do not want to make a long line to enter the place, you can buy a special ticket. When you show it at the site, the building's personnel give you a bracelet that you have to put on so you can skip the long line. Another thing to remember is that there's a security search point inside the building. So you have to cooperate with the security guards. You have to take off your belt and your watch and put them on a plastic tray along with any bags you have to be X-ray scanned for security purposes. Finally, on one of the floors, before taking the elevator to the top, there are photographers that take pictures of visitors and sell photographs. Don't worry, you don't have to buy the photos if you're not interested in the pictures. This information will help you enjoy your visit to one of the most iconic buildings in the world. Nice paragraph. I love this paragraph. So it has an introduction or an introductory sentence. If you visit Empire State Building in New York, there are 3 things you should keep in mind, and it also has a concluding sentence. This information will help you enjoy your visit to one of the most iconic buildings in the world. As you can notice, the introductory sentence and the concluding sentence have similar or parallel structures. These 2 sentences share similar content, similar information. So that is something that you can do when you write a paragraph. You should have an introductory sentence mentioning something, and you can also conclude your paragraph paraphrasing the same idea. In that way, when reading your paragraph, there's a sense of completion. Okay? Now, what else can we say? We have modals like can and modal-like expressions like have to express necessity, to say that something is mandatory, obligatory, that is necessary to do, or that is not necessary to do. For example, you have to buy a ticket. You have to buy a ticket. It's important. Necessary. Yellow. Next, light blue. You can buy a special ticket. You can buy a special ticket. This is not to express necessity, but to express possibility. It's an option. Next, yellow. You have to put on. You have to put on. That is like mandatory, necessary. You can skip. You can skip. That is a possibility, right? You can skip to talk about possibilities. And you have the subject you, verb, auxiliary verb can, and the verb in base form skip. In the previous one, yellow, you have the subject you, modal-like expression have to, and the verb put on. It's a phrasal verb. Then in the light blue one, the first one, you have the subject you, the modal verb can, and the verb in base form by. In the first one, in yellow, you have the subject you, modal-like phrase or expression have to, and the verb in base form by. Next, in yellow, you have the subject you, have to is a modal-like expression to show necessity, and cooperate, that is a verb that I like, the pronunciation. Yes, the pronunciation is not easy, right? We need 2 vowels there, cooperate. According to the Merriam-Webster dictionary, that's how you should pronounce it. Cooperate. Again, subject you, modal-like expression have to, and verb in base form cooperate. Then you have to take off. Subject you, modal-like expression have to, verb take off. Subject you, orange, don't have to buy. You don't have to buy. It's not necessary to do it. Yeah, orange. Subject you, model-like expression, don't have to, and the verb is buy. So you can use modals and modal-like expressions like the ones you see here on this slide to say that something is important, necessary, mandatory, or that something is not necessary to do. Now, what else do you see in this paragraph? You see clauses that introduce conditions and time. Condition in green, time in orange. Condition, if you visit the Empire State Building in New York, that is the condition, and then you have a comma and you have the result clause. Then next, if you do not want to make a long line to enter the place, that is the condition, right? And it starts with if and you have a comma after the clause. The same happens in the first example. In the third example, we don't have a condition, we have a time clause. It's not a condition clause or a conditional. It is a time clause. It starts with when. When you show it at the side, again, you start with when, you finish the clause, you put a comma. Next, in orange, before taking the elevator to the top, that also signals time, but this is not a clause. It's a phrase, a time phrase. How do you know that it's a time phrase? It starts with before, so it's referring to timing. And it's a phrase because it is not a clause, and it is not a clause because it doesn't have a subject and a verb, right? You only have a group of words without a subject. And finally, you also have a conditional, but as the second part of the sentence. You don't have to buy the photos if you are not interested in the pictures. So you can also put a conditional clause at the end of the sentence, and as you can see, there's no comma between the first part and the second part of the sentence. Now, these words are important, or phrases. First of all, another thing to remember, finally, as you can tell, these three phrases allow you to move from one idea to the next one. So first of all, introduces the first idea. Another thing to remember, introduces the second idea. Finally, introduces the last idea. If you want to write a paragraph like this, you can organize your ideas in a graphic organizer like this. This time we have used a different technique. 3 parts, to talk about tickets, to talk about security and maybe shopping, but we haven't made a list of ideas or words. We have just put together ideas in paragraphs because this is a free writing technique or strategy. You are just writing whatever comes to your mind. It doesn't matter if it's okay or not. You just write. Keep writing and writing and writing and writing. And then you revise everything. You put your ideas together nicely and you can end up having a paragraph like this with 199 words to talk about a very nice place to visit. If you want to watch the whole class, visit aglanguages.com. You can find more videos there too. Interested in English classes online? Please contact us. We will be very happy to help you with your English. And leave your comments, your questions, and visit our blog too. Follow Hector Cabrera on Instagram and follow us on YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, and Instagram. Are you ready for the vocabulary and pronunciation class? Yes, I am ready. Are you ready too? Awesome. Welcome to this vocabulary and pronunciation class. What are we talking about today? This class is about transportation and cities, so we will be reviewing useful vocabulary to talk about that. We will focus on adjectives, and I can see that there's a mistake here, and this is the mistake. Double S? No. So, adjectives to talk about cities. These are opposite adjectives. Safe, dangerous, fast, slow, easy, difficult, very easy and simple. However, there is another way to show contrast using a prefix. Okay, do you see light blue? Yes. Healthy, opposite, unhealthy. Comfortable, opposite, uncomfortable. Mhm. So using that prefix, you can turn a word into its opposite, right? So yellow, different spelling, opposites with different spelling. Um, Light blue, opposites with the same spelling but with a prefix that changes the meaning of the word. Orange, another prefix that helps you make opposites. Convenient, inconvenient. Right? Very useful, right? So now we will review our pronunciation of some of these words using phonetic symbols taken from the Merriam-Webster dictionary. This is the first one. 4 letters, 3 sounds. Vowel A with a hat. How do you pronounce that? A. The word safe. Safe. The last letter in this word does not sound. Yes. Now 9 letters, 8 sounds, 3 syllables. The first syllable is the one that is stressed. In the first syllable, you have A with a hat. A. No, sorry, day. A. What am I talking about? A. Yes, I'm sorry. Yes, A. So, and the second and third syllables have schwa. Neutral sound. Dangerous, dangerous, dangerous. Number 3, number 5 letters and 4 sounds. You have double E in the spelling. You have E with a hat. E with a hat is E. So pronunciation green. Number 4, 9 letters and 7 sounds. 3 syllables. The second syllable is the one that is stressed. First syllable, schwa, neutral, second syllable, the vowel, oo, oo. You have to round your lips, oo. And third syllable, I. I is a weak sound. All right. So polluting, polluting. Number 6. Number 5. 6 letters, 5 sounds, 1 syllable. How many vowels? 1. E. Th sounds th. So pronunciation health, health. Number 6. 9 letters, 8 sounds, 3 syllables, 3 syllables. The second syllable has the primary stress. The first syllable has the secondary stress. In the first syllable, neutral. Second syllable, e. Third syllable, e with a hat. Pronunciation, e. How do you pronounce the word? Unhealthy, unhealthy. Number 7, wow, 11 letters. It can have 9 sounds. It can also have 11 sounds. It can also have 9 sounds. So sometimes there are videos you watch on YouTube, on TikTok, on Instagram saying, don't pronounce it like this, don't pronounce it like that. That's not sometimes 100% correct. If you go to the Merriam-Webster dictionary, you will see that there are many possible ways to pronounce this word. I have put here just 3 out of those many words that are there in that dictionary. So before saying that you cannot pronounce something in a way or another, go to the Merriam-Webster dictionary, for instance, and make sure that there is only one pronunciation for a word. So the first word, 9 sounds. The second word, 11 sounds. Then the first way to pronounce it, 9 sounds. Second way, 11 sounds. Third way, 9 sounds. Syllables in the first way to pronounce it, 3. In the second way to pronounce it, 4 syllables. In the third way, 3 syllables. So how can you pronounce this? First way, comfortable, comfortable, no P, no F. Second way, comfortable, comfortable, comfortable. Third way, comfortable, comfortable, comfortable. Nice. Okay, so next time that you watch a video on social media saying, don't pronounce this word like this, please make sure that's a fact. Use a dictionary and pay attention to phonetic symbols. Number 8, negative. Oh, the other way, the opposite, sorry. 13 word or 13 letters, it can have 11 sounds, 13 sounds, or 11 sounds again. It can have 4 syllables, 5 syllables, or 4 syllables. Pronunciation, uncomfortable or uncomfortable or uncomfortable. Okay, the second one is easier, or I should say is the easiest out of these ones. Uncomfortable. Yeah. Number 9, 10 words or 10 letters and 10 sounds. 3 syllables. The second syllable is the stressed syllable. First syllable, schwa, second syllable, e with a hat. Pronunciation, e. Third syllable, schwa, What is the pronunciation? Convenient, convenient. Number 10, the opposite, 12. 12 sounds or 12 letters and 12 sounds. 4 syllables, first syllable, secondary stress, third syllable, primary stress. In the first syllable, you have a tiny little I, the sound is I. In the second sound, you have a schwa, in the second vowel. In the second syllable, you have a schwa, In the third syllable, you have an E with a hat, E. And in the fourth syllable, you have schwa with Y before it, yeah, right? So pronunciation, inconvenient, inconvenient, inconvenient. Good. If you want to watch the whole class, visit agelanguages.com. You will find more videos there. Interested in online English classes, contact us. We will be happy, very happy to help you with English classes. Comments and questions, please leave your comments and questions and visit our blog, and also follow Hector Cabrera on Instagram. Follow us on YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, and Instagram too. So, what was the topic of today's class? Transportation and cities. Do you have any questions? Hello, Nida, Gabriel, Veronica, Samurai. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome, everybody. I'm so happy to have you here. We had some problems at the beginning. Do you have any questions about today's class? I want to make sure that I answer your questions. I don't see any questions here. No problem. We're going to leave the Q&A session for next time, or for a message. You can send me a message and I can reply. It will be a pleasure to help you out with any questions you can have. Today the objective was to talk about necessity. The context was transportation and cities, right? And we talked about necessity, using can, have to, don't have to. Please contact us if you need to improve your English. We have a lot of different courses to offer for all the levels and all the ages. And if you don't need English at this specific moment, please share our information, our video, or contact to your friends, to your family, so that they can reach us. All right, visit our website, our blog, and thank you very much for being here today. I really appreciate it. See you next class, class 56. Bye bye.